AMC is in a major spot, testing this long-term resistance as well as getting around that $363 level. Now, will buyers push the price above these two resistance markers, or are sellers going to step in here, finding that retracement? Now, starting this on the weekly time frame, guys, we see we got shut down, right? It's very beat up stock. AMC is extremely beat up over time, which I like to mention. Right, keep that in mind when trading AMC. It's very volatile, but it is extremely beat up. But looking at the closer view perspective on the weekly time frame, we see that we got that huge sell-off, guys. Price tries to rebound, cannot. We get pushed all the way down to that 238. Then we see a big move up all the way to that 1187. We cannot hold that. We see a giant wick, and then we see price kind of get tight around that $4 and $5 psychological level. Find a bit of resistance, and we do flush. We cannot hold that spot. And now, guys, we're trending right around the bottom there. We see a bottom, 1, 2, double bottom, and a move up. And then we saw price start getting back into a descending range again, right? So we saw that nice move up as we double bottom, and then we see price kind of start to reverse back down, and that was a bearish sign. But then we see buyers step in when they need to step in, right? Not retracing all the way back to the floor, and we see a very nice, beautiful green wide bar followed up with another green week. And with today being Monday, right, it's too early to tell what this week's going to do. See a little bit of indecisive movement as of right now, but definitely looking good for buyers as they regain that control, getting us out of this descending type of pattern. We did see that bottom of around that 238, that double bottom. Nice push up, sell off, but we do not fully retrace that movement. And then we see buyers step in when they have to step in, and we push up once again. And looking on the monthly real quick, guys, definitely shows that we are around that all-time low area. So it was very important that we did bounce there. All right, guys, I'll take you to the daily time frame. We see that price kind of trended down in this descending pattern for some time, all the way from that 550. We just see big drastic sell-off. Buyers try to step in, but sellers gain that ultimate control, pushing stock all the way back down, getting that double bottom like effect. And then we see a big surge getting out of that pullback type of range all the way to $4. Talking roughly a 50% move on that. And then we see sellers step in, right? Pretty much mirroring candle of this huge wide bar. And we get in this longer term descending range. So yes, sellers were pushing it down. But what we can keep in mind is this entire move here was around 8 candles long. And this one here, you see much more candle price action. A lot more days of sellers trying to push this down. Sellers were in that ultimate control, but buyers were putting up a bit more of a fight as the buyers had that upper hand a lot quicker than the sellers were trying to push it down. And that leads us ultimately to a break of that formation as buyers still were in the game here. Lots of back and forth, right? Buyers push it to the ceiling, sellers push it to the floor. Buyers push to the ceiling, look for that breakout. And instead of getting pushed back down to the floor, this time we hold a bit higher, finding that support at 280, and then we retest and break out. That being the third time we really try to break out, just like we covered in the last video, right? One here, twice here, and the third time looking a lot more healthy, and that's where we get that gap up and full breakout. And from that breakout, sellers try to step in as that was a very nice gap up and breakout. Try to step in for 2 days, but buyers find more support at that $3 level, right around that $3.10 level. And we see a very nice green white bar engulfing these two candles here, really showing the dominance that buyers are bringing now, guys. As volume starts to ramp up a little bit and volatility is now showing with that very nice move up. Last couple of days, guys, we see a little bit of indecision here, but we could be kind of gearing up as we're right pressed against a very long-term resistance, guys. We're talking about around that $550 level that we observed, with that being created around December of 2024. So we're talking about around a 7-month period here where we're trying to break through right now, guys. So if we did break through that, would be looking very nice for the buyers. If we do reject, I think it's around this point. As we reject, we continue that descending pattern started around that 550-ish level, wick off that once again, get in this range, and now we're retesting that longer term resistance as well as that $360-ish level. But the most important thing that sticks out is that resistance, as if we were to get over that, we seem clear to that $4 level and possibly a nice volatile move up, as AMC is no stranger to these very aggressive big moves up or down. So I think this is a very key spot for the buyers, as we did just break out of a bearish range here, and buyers have showed that dominance, as after gapping up, we don't let the sellers push us back down much. And we follow that up with a very nice green wide bar, showing that buyer control. So all really good signs here, guys, and we're in an indecisive spot right here just because we're pressed up against around a 7-month resistance level. So we do remain bullish given this price action, guys, as we've seen a nice break of a bearish structure, seen that nice gap up and continuation. Right, sellers try to push it down, but buyers stay in control with that very nice obvious green wide bar, showing a shift in momentum and a shift in volatility. As long as volume can keep flushing in here, guys, it's looking very good for the buyers. And as for the sellers, perfect point to step in given that longer term resistance, keeping us in this descending like pattern. So if sellers are going to step in, I think it is now or around that $4 psychological level, obviously, because that is the last point we've gotten, our last high to go off of. But if buyers can really blow through this range, I think we do blow through that 4 and get back in this choppier zone around that 5 and that 4, given we were a bit higher here, right? It's around that, talking about 550, 570-ish range. Nevertheless, that 4 and that 5 is a big chop zone. So I think that if we did break this longer term resistance, we break through that 4 and get back within that range of 4 to 5, and then would see if buyers could continue to remain strong off that point. But yeah, liking what I'm seeing here, guys. Very nice price action for AMC as the buyers had to step in. If we did get pushed back down to that bottom, would really be risking another long-term descending pattern, as AMC really likes to go on these longer term sell off control, right? Sellers just being in control for long periods of time. So if we did get back to the floor and possibly break that, guys, we'd be risking going back down to all-time lows. So nice reaction here, finding some higher support, not going back down to the floor. And so far from this breakout, very nice price action. All right, guys, on the hourly, we see better perspective on how we broke out of that descending like channel, right? We get that big move up and sell off, and we see a lot more price action going down than we did see going up, like we described on the daily. We see a pretty evenly contested zone as buyers try to push it up, getting that control, not making it a range, but sellers push it down. We do find this ascending support, right? A bullish support level. Try to ride it, but we do end up flushing that, showing that bears are gaining that control, and we kind of trend towards the bottom of that range. But then we see bulls try to push it above that, trying to get that breakout, right? We see a breakout attempt here after finding that support level. And we see a breakout attempt right here. Do see a nice green bar, but then we get gapped down and close to the bottom of that range. But like we said, hold up around that 283-ish level. And then we see that real breakout, that third attempt, and we get that nice green wide bar. Sellers try to push it down. We don't fully come back down to that resistance marker, and we stay up. And after a little bit of back and forth, but ultimately in an ascending range, we see that gap up and move up. And we see price chop around this 320 for a bit. So let's try to push it down. We hold higher. We don't go back down to this support level here, guys, or retesting this resistance here. We hold up higher and we continue our movement up. So we see a textbook breakout, gap up, a little bit of indecision, smaller sell off, higher low, continuation of the breakout movement. And now pressed up against a very important longer term resistance, we see a little bit of a stall once again. So we see a big move up, stall, small pullback, a little bit of tight price action, big move up. Now we're pressed up against a very long term resistance and we see a little bit of a stall. So it wouldn't be completely out of the question to get a little bit of a pullback, possibly holding higher, getting to the, I'd say, top of those candles there. So we'd be looking at a movement down to that 338-ish level. Doesn't mean it has to go down to that range, right? This could have been the bottom right here. It's kind of a smaller pullback and continuation, but definitely wouldn't surprise me. Pretty much what I see happening, guys, is just a continued stair step like pattern, right? Big move up, smaller retracement, big move up, smaller retracement, big move up. And once we break through that longer term resistance, that's where you could see a very volatile, sharp move to that $4 level. See if we can break through that. Possibly just see some very volatile price action. So liking what I'm seeing on the hourly, guys, we remain bullish, and the weekly, daily, and hourly all show signs that we are looking good for the short term of AMC. The long term is still in question, but definitely like what I'm seeing for the short term. Very nice breakout and continuation. Let me know your price predictions in the comments below. I think we look good here in the short term, especially if we can break this resistance. If the bears do get in control, guys, watch to hold higher, as this is a very important resistance. So seeing a little bit of a pullback is another question, but I do think at the end of the day, we do get our move above that level and retest that $4 level. So for a shorter term price target, I have it at that $4 level. And if we can break through that, I think we do see a possible test of that $5 level in the medium to longer term, but it definitely could happen quicker than we think if we can break through that resistance, given that that was a 7-ish month resistance level. We do remain bullish, but if bears do get in control, I think it would be right now or at that $4 level. Now, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, as I'll continue to cover AMC. Also, let me know any other tickers you guys want to see me cover. As always, trade smart, and I'll see you all in the next one.